Hi everyone, it's Miss Elise again from the Morristown and Township Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make these origami paper turtles. We're going to start off how we did making our paper cranes by cutting our paper down to size. It can be any type of paper that you have lying around your house as long as it's rectangular. You're also going to need a pair of scissors. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take one of the corners of your paper and fold it down to the opposite side of your paper. It's going to form a triangle next to a rectangle, if that makes any sense. You're then going to press down on the fold that you just made to make a crease, which is nice and sharp and aligns perfectly with the opposite edge of your paper. You're then going to cut along the excess of the line that you see here, where it divides the triangle from the rectangle. And you're going to cut off the rectangular part of the paper in order to create a perfect square. And once you have that all done and everything is nice and neat and straight, you're going to get rid of that rectangular piece, so you just have the triangular piece left, and there is your perfectly square sheet of paper that we're going to use to make our turtles. Now that we have our square paper all squared away, we're going to start by making sure our decorative side, or any side if you have a plain sheet of paper, is on the bottom. And we're going to start by making a hot dog fold up across the top so that the two edges meet together on the one side, making sure everything is straight, nice, and even. We're going to fold that so it creates a crease down the middle of our paper. As you can see, here is the middle crease. We're then going to do the same thing, but on the opposite side, going in the opposite direction. So that way you create a plus sign or a cross in the middle of our paper. So now we have a nice cross in the center. And now we're going to flip the paper over so the decorative side is on the front. And we're going to fold from corner to corner or diagonally so that it creates a triangle out of our paper. You should already have a crease in your paper from when we folded to create the square, but you're going to need to do one on the opposite side as well. And once you have your two diagonal squares, you should have 4 creases in your paper in total, going across in a star shape. We are then going to pop the center of our paper, keeping the decorative side up, and we're going to fold in the 2 edges of our paper so that it creates a nice smaller square where we have folded edges, or the open edges on the bottom, and the folded edges creating a point in the top at the center. We are then going to take one of the flaps and fold it in towards the center line crease so that it creates a smaller triangle or a kite, and repeat on the other side. We're then going to flip the paper over and repeat on the opposite side by bringing the 2 edges in to create a kite-like shape. And now that we have our kite shape, as you can see here, we are going to fold down the triangle that you see at the top on one of the sides so that it creates a smooth triangle on the other side. We are then going to flip the triangle back up and open one side of the flap so that it creates an open hole in the middle, and you're going to flatten it down to create a larger triangle or diamond kite shape. You really want to make sure that it's nice and flat so that the paper doesn't want to pop back up again. And once you have your kite, you're going to flip it over to the other side and do the exact same process. So you're going to open the two flaps and then open the entire thing so it creates a hole in the center, and flatten it down so that it creates a triangle. Now, it is okay if your triangles do not match up against one another. Mine did not. Actually, mine ripped at the top. It is okay if it's not symmetrical. You just want to get it as symmetrical as possible. You're going to notice that you have two open slots at the top of your triangle and one closed slot revealing the triangle underneath. That is purposeful. You want to keep the closed part on the bottom and the open part on the top. Now what we're going to do is fold up the bottom triangle flap to the center middle line of our triangle. And then we are going to fold down that top half the opposite direction, but not going past the line that we had just made, as you can see. So it's not quite fully going to the line, it's going past the line. Then going to fold the little tiny part of the triangle up so that way when we flip this part of the triangle over, you're not going to see the triangle. And once you flip that top half up, you're going to turn your paper over and twist the top left triangle opening of the triangle on a 45-degree fold so that it lines up with the top corner of our shape. These are going to create the arms of our turtle. You're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. You're going to fold it underneath itself at a 45-degree angle to create two out protruding triangles. So you want to make sure that it lines up with the top corners, and if it doesn't completely, it's a-okay. Mine didn't on the one side, but as close as possible. Now you see when we flip it over, it looks like two arms protruding out from our turtle. Once we have that, we're going to turn our paper over, and I'm going to fix one of my shoulders or arms because it's not quite as symmetrical as I want it to be. Once you have that squared away, you're going to flip up the top half of your triangle about a fourth of the way up your paper and fold it down again. This is going to create a 4/4 length fold in our paper that's going to create the tail and legs of our turtle. Now you're going to need another pair of scissors, or the same pair of scissors for this next task, because what we're going to do is we're going to cut from the center of that bottom half of the paper up to about where we made our fold in order to create the legs of our turtle. As you can see here, I'm going to be cutting up that center line of the fold that we just made. Make sure to be careful when using your scissors. And I'm going to cut all the way up to the line, trying to keep as straight as possible. You'll notice I have a few flyaways here, but as long as you cut them or rip them off, it should be fine. Now that we have our two cut pieces, I'm going to fold again on a 45-degree angle so that the protruding triangle ends point outwards, acting as legs on the other side when we flip our paper over. I'm also going to fold up the tail of our turtle in order to create a more hexagonal shape on the other side. So when I flip it over, it looks like a turtle, right? Pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is fold our turtle in half. This should be pretty easy since the folds have already been made, and this is going to help our turtle stand up a little bit on any surface that it's sitting on. I'm also going to make little folds in the shoulder, where the shoulder and arm meet, to help it stand up a little more upright as well. And once you have done that, there is your turtle friend. It's pretty easy, isn't it? Great job, guys. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that the turtles have brought you some joy during this quarantine time. And we'll see you next week for another origami video. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week.